Today in this episode of In the Weeds, we're going to talk about the barnyard grass screening program that we conduct here at the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture. Hi, my name is Jason Norsworthy, and I hold the rank of Distinguished Professor within the division.
Unfortunately, there are too many fields as we travel across eastern Arkansas that look like the one that I'm showing you here. Whereas we begin to approach late in the growing season, we see the failure to control barnyard grass in way too many fields. There is some recent survey work that myself and my colleagues conducted across the state of Arkansas. And when we take a look at that, it really kind of gives us some evidence as to why barnyard grass is important. Specific takeaways from the recent survey was that weed control cost in Arkansas rice is $114.40 per acre, of which barnyard grass, again, is the most important weed within the state's rice crop. When we take a look at the cost spent on managing barnyard grass, $87.40 of that $114.40 per acre is spent specifically managing this weed, and hence the reason, again, for it being the most important weed of Arkansas rice. When we take a look at the acres infested with barnyard grass based on the survey, it's somewhere between 74 and 92% of the total rice acres are infested with this weed, meaning that we have approximately 1.1 to 1.4 million acres each year that are infested with barnyard grass. What we also saw from the survey is when a grower makes an application to control barnyard grass, the first application, which in most instances will be a soil-applied herbicide, but when that application is made, if you have failure of that application, 52% of the time, you're going to need an additional 3 treatments in order to gain adequate control. We also saw that approximately 20% of the time, growers are unable to ever gain successful control of barnyard grass if that first application fails. And hence, the reason for us really needing to know what will work or what will not work with that first application. Through the barnyard grass screening program in recent years, 2018 through 2020, we've had more than 100 samples submitted each year for screening. In 2018, you see 153, 19, 196, and 126 in 2020. So why should a grower participate in the barnyard grass screening program? First, we know today that in Arkansas rice, we have resistance to the Group 1 herbicides, which would be herbicides like Clincher and Rice Star, even to some extent Previsia. We also know that we have some Group 2 resistance. These would be herbicides like Regiment, New Path, some of the full-page products like Preface and Postscript. Beyond, these are Group 2 herbicides. Group 4, we have facet resistance as well as loyant resistance. Group 7 would be herbicides like propanil, and Group 13 would be the clomazone or command resistance. In order for a grower or a consultant to make an informed decision, and again, this decision is not going to have any direct cost to the grower, you really need to send in these samples and have them screened so we can tell you what will and will not work within that field. Another reason to participate is because it's going to save the grower money. What we have noticed in the 2019 screening samples is that 81% of those sampled fields, a non-effective herbicide was applied to that field, and that is a cost to a grower. One herbicide to which resistance actually occurs within that field is costing that grower $15 to $30, depending on what the herbicide is, and additional application cost is costing us about $7 to $8 per acre. As a result of that, we're spending millions on millions of dollars each year in wasted herbicide applications because we are choosing to use products to which we currently have resistance within the field. When barnyard grass samples or other potentially resistant weed samples are submitted for screening to my program, it is imperative that the one collecting the sample complete this form so that we can have some information about the sample that's being submitted. The form can be obtained from your local county agent in Arkansas, or you can email me for a copy of the form, and my email address is actually at the bottom right-hand side of the form shown here. One reason that we provide this form is because there's really vital information that we need to know about this sample, especially if this is a new occurrence of herbicide resistance within the state. And for that reason, we ask that you provide some field identification or location of where that sample was collected. We prefer to see GPS coordinates of the field in which the sample was pulled or collected, as well as how many acres are potentially infested with this sample. We want to know what the weed problem is. If it's barnyard grass, just place barnyard grass on this line. If it's another weed problem for which you're wanting us to screen, we ask that you provide that information here, as well as the number of years in which this problem has occurred. You'll see here in the middle of the form, we ask you to provide the herbicides that were applied that year to the particular crop. The reason being is we want to know what worked, what did not work, and then once we begin to evaluate these for resistance, we want to have some understanding as to whether herbicides to which resistance existed were actually applied within this field. Lastly, if the information is available, we would like you to provide the year and the crop. These would be previous crops that were grown, and again, if possible, the herbicide programs associated with those crops. Lastly, make sure that the county extension agent is provided here, because the county extension agent is the one that will be contacted, and the results within a county will be provided to that extension agent, and then they will provide it to the growers or consultants within that county.
As we close today, I would just like to remind you that the Barnyard Grass Screening Program is available to growers and consultants throughout the state of Arkansas. This program is funded by the Arkansas Rice Promotion Board, your checkoff dollars, and it's really a tool that allows you, the grower or the consultant, to make an informed decision as you go to the field each spring as to what will and will not be effective from a standpoint of managing these weeds. I'd like to say thank you for the support of the program, and we ask that you again continue to send in samples and use this as a resource to make an informed decision.